Hi, I'm Earl Taylor, Chief Knowledge Officer at the Marketing Science Institute. As many of you know, MSI helps marketers become better marketers. Our business and academic thought leaders collaborate to create new marketing knowledge, which we share in a variety of ways. One of the most popular is our Best of MSI lunch lecture. Those of you attending today represent many business sectors such as travel, CPG, financial services, and more, as well as MSI members such as AAA Northeast, GFK, T. Rowe Price, Coca-Cola, and others. We're delighted to welcome you to learn more about sustaining motivation in customers, your employees, and yourself. Now, before we begin, I'd like to point out the Chat with Presenter function in the left-hand corner of your screen. Please use this feature to send through any questions you have during the presentation. We'll gather the questions and have a brief Q&A session following the presentation. Now, I'd like to introduce you to today's featured speaker. Szu-Chi Huang is an Associate Professor of Marketing at the Graduate School of Business, Stanford University. She received her PhD in Marketing and a Master's degree in Advertising from the University of Texas at Austin. Prior to her academic career, she worked at JWT Advertising Agency as an account manager, working with global brands such as Unilever and Estee Lauder. Her main research interest is consumer motivation, and her work has been published in many journals, including the Journal of Consumer Research, the Journal of Marketing Research, Journal of Experimental Social Psychology, and Human Decision Processes. Her work has also been featured in popular press, including the Harvard Business Review, Forbes, Huffington Post, and others. And among other awards, she received the AMA Chef Distinguished Faculty Fellow in 2017, and we're very proud to acknowledge that she was also one of MSI's Young Scholars in 2017. So we look forward to hearing from Szu-Chi about sustaining motivation. Szu-Chi?
Yes, thank you. Hello, everyone. This will be good morning from the West Coast. Welcome to the webinar. I'm Szu-Chi, and today we'll be talking about sustaining motivation in customers, employees, and in yourself. So I encourage you that during the discussion today, think about a person or a group of people you are hoping to motivate, and keep on going back to that as an example as we talk about different findings that we have from our research. So I would like to start with a story. It's a story about Campbell Soup. So several years ago, Campbell Soup realized that their growth has slowed down. And of course, it is one of the most popular soup companies in the whole world, but the soup market is very saturated. And one critical challenge is that they realize they don't know why people are buying the soup. The need that's driving soup consumption is not clear. So they have conducted a series of neuromarketing research, capturing people's response when they look at soup commercials or shopping for soups, including their posture, breath, and perspiration. What they found is that although people have needs for soup, it's very different from the needs that they thought. People are not purchasing the soup for health or nutrition. People are actually purchasing and consuming soup for emotional connection. And most importantly, parents are purchasing soup for their children to feel that they are nurturing and taking care of their children. So it is the emotional connection that is the need that's driving the consumption. Then the next question they want to ask is, how do I activate that need? They realize that children have been changing. Children are now wiser, they are more empowered, they negotiate with parents sometimes. So in order to build emotional connection to this new generation of kids, they launched this campaign they call the Wisest Kid in the World in 2013. So this Wisest Kid basically gives advice to parents whenever they are unsure about how to connect with their children. And this is supposed to kind of illustrate what the new generation of children is like. And through Campbell Soup, we can satisfy that emotional need and build connection. So to illustrate, I'm going to show you one of the commercials that's one of the early ones when they launched this campaign.
Wisest kid in the whole world. How can I be a more fun mom?
Can you dance?
Can I dance?
No. Nope. Yikes.
No? Oh.
Can you make Campbell's chicken noodle soup?
Yes.
Every can has 32 feet of slurpable noodles. Now that's fun.
Mom, you're awesome.
Oh, yeah. Good.
So as you can see in this commercial, definitely the kids are becoming more independent. They can challenge their parents. They can advise their parents. So I would say they did a good job demonstrating the new kinds of kids. But you may also wonder, something feels missing from this commercial. If the purpose is to address the needs that parents want to feel connected with their children, this commercial seems to be activating that need to feel connected, but not completely satisfying it. So overall, I think I have two key takeaways for you when it comes to this campaign. First, it is very challenging for a brand to evolve as your customers change. Their needs to connect with their children, for instance, change throughout the years. And as a brand, you have to evolve and address those new kinds of relationship dynamics. It's very important, but it could be challenging. For the campaign that follows this Wisest Kid in the World, you will see that CAMPBELL is doing better and better job not only activating the need to connect with more independent and wiser children, but also to show how CAMPBELL Soup really helps to satisfy this need. And to give you an example of how to strike this balance between connecting with the children but also addressing the fact that they are becoming independent and they can advise and negotiate with parents, I'm going to show you another commercial from another food company.
Hey, Gracie. You know how our family has daddy and mommy?
And me.
Yeah, that's right. Pretty soon, you're gonna have a baby brother.
And a puppy.
Deal.
As you can see from this commercial, again, we see the children becoming more independent. They can negotiate, and sometimes they win from the negotiation. They can advise their parents. So the new generation of kids is illustrated nicely in this commercial. But more importantly, you feel this connection among the family members. So not only they're activating the need to show that, yes, we all want to feel connected, they show how the product was a way for people to actually satisfy this need. So I want to show you this example as a counterexample for what we saw from the CAMPBELL Soup and give you an idea of what it feels like to activate a need and what it feels like to show that your product is a solution to satisfy that need. And what I'm getting to is your number one takeaway today is that it's all about the needs. I know we all watch a lot of commercials, for instance, from Super Bowl, for example. Many of them are funny, and we may even share them, and we may laugh about it, and we may like them. But that does not prompt us to go out and actually purchase the product or the service. And a lot of times what happens there is that the commercial may not be successful in activating a need that's relevant for you. Or perhaps it activated a need that's already been addressed by other companies in your life. So activating needs that's relevant for your target customers or employees, and then satisfying that need is actually a critical part of what prompts people to make purchases, what makes them feel that they need a product. So the number one thing to think about is, what is the need that's driving my customers and that's driving my employees? To help you think through this, I want to share with you a framework we often use when we talk about needs. If you have a major in psychology, this may not seem that foreign to you, the Maslow's hierarchy of needs. This is a framework that we use to talk about different kinds of needs and how there may be a hierarchy, and satisfying the lower level needs allow you to then pursue higher level needs. But when it comes to marketing, I found this framework to be really helpful simply as a map for you to think about different kinds of needs that could be relevant for what you are trying to promote. So let's start from the bottom. There are physiological needs. We know that people need food, we need sleep, and we need water. When we don't have these, we are probably grumpy and we are not happy. These needs need to be satisfied right away. Higher level needs could be safety. We need to feel safe. And employment sometimes may allow us to feel secure and safe, feeling that I have resources, I have savings and money thinking about retirement planning, a lot of credit card companies that might be communicating these needs of resource. If we move even higher, you may have needs for love and belonging. Campbell Soup commercial I just showed you earlier kind of go into this category, leveraging soup as a product to allow people to connect. We want to feel connected to friends and family or even our colleague at work. But if we go up even more, there are self-esteem and confidence needs as well. Think about the employees in your company. They definitely come here to work for that paycheck, and that could be a safety level or even physiological level needs. Without the paycheck, they don't have food and they don't have a house. But more important than that, we see employees sometimes work even after hours because they are so driven by a project. They are so proud of the project they do. So a lot of times they're doing that because the project is satisfying the needs of self-esteem, make them feel the sense of achievement. They feel respected by others. They feel confident. And that's what's really driving them to work for that extra few hours. Now let's move up even higher. We can talk about self-actualization needs. That is the need to feel that you are at the right place in your life. You are doing the tasks that's right for you, and you're fulfilling your potential. So think about those projects that keep you up at night, not because of anxiety, but because of excitement. You cannot wait to get out there the next day and start working on the project. You cannot stop talking about the project with other people. When you feel that way, the project is probably satisfying your self-actualization needs. You feel like you can exercise your creativity in that project. The project allows you to reach your full potential. You have a purpose. And that is a very, very powerful need. So we just went through all these different kinds of needs. And you can start thinking about the people you're trying to influence that I asked you to kind of bring to mind at the beginning of the talk. It could be a group of customers. It could be a group of employees at your company. It could be even yourself or your family members. The people you're trying to motivate, they have all these kind of needs. And many of them could be relevant for your product offering. So when we think about this map, it's important not to confine ourselves to just one thing. A lot of times what our product is doing is to satisfy multiple different kinds of needs. To really illustrate this point, I'm going to show you a Nike commercial next. Nike, of course, they are selling product shoes, but shoes can actually satisfy multiple levels of needs. And I think this commercial does a good job of demonstrating how they can do that. So to make it fun, for this exercise, when I show you the commercial, I want you to start counting how many different kinds of needs we just talked about that you can see in the commercial. This hierarchy of needs file is sent to you also in your confirmation email. So if you want to have it handy, you can have the confirmation email next to you. You will have the file there so you can see all the needs that's listed here. Now let's watch the commercial, and I'm going to ask you to select a number that reflects how many different kinds of needs that you see from that commercial. So a pair of shoes, but many, many different kinds of needs. So just to refresh your memory, this is the hierarchy of needs that you have from your confirmation email. Now let's get to the question. How many different kinds of needs did you see from the Nike commercial? Please enter a number from your laptop or from your phone, and we'll see what the final pool is. So you can enter your number now. I'm seeing the response coming in from the left side. I think I saw 3, 4, 8. I saw 10 as well. Three. So many of you saw definitely more than one. So here is the hierarchy again. And definitely, I think I saw many different kinds of needs as well. They are running for survival, could be for safety. They are running for hunting, so for food. They are definitely running in a group, which is social belonging, and also running for your own bettering yourself. That could be self-actualization and self-esteem. So definitely different kinds of needs were all there in the commercial. So I want you to use the file that we sent you offline as you think about how to motivate others. If you want to motivate your customers, you want to motivate your employees, and you feel like you have been repeating your messages, but they just don't seem motivated, go back to this hierarchy and think about what are the different types of needs that are relevant to this person, and then am I really talking about these needs? A lot of times people are not responding because we are not addressing the needs that are relevant for them. And keep in mind that there are different types. So that's the first key takeaway I want you to have, that it all comes down to the needs that people have when you try to motivate them, and there could be different types. Now, the second point I would like to make today is that once you identify those needs, it's important to think that the needs are dynamic. I identify them today, doesn't mean they stay salient tomorrow for my target consumer. Needs keeps on changing. To illustrate that, I took pictures of vending machines that I saw when I'm traveling. Here's an example. You see the vending machine selling sandals. My first intuition when I saw this is that it must be next to the beach, and people forgot to bring their sandals when they go to the beach. As it turns out, actually, it's not close to the beach, but it's actually close to areas where people go out for clubbing. And now you see where I'm going with this. In the middle of the night, after long hours of standing up and dancing, people's feet are tired. There is a very strong physiological need to get comfortable. However, it is after hours, there's no store, so the vending machine has its role for you to get the product you need and get comfort. On the right side, you see cosmetic products in the vending machines. We see that at airport, for instance. That is the place that this kind of need to look better could be activated. After long travel, but you are going to a business meeting, all of a sudden it's very salient, you want to look good, and there are places that sell these kind of tools, but they are too far away. So you actually want something that's immediate, accessible. So what that tells us is that needs can fluctuate. I may need that all the time, but there are certain moments it comes to my mind. And whoever can offer that product to me at that right moment and location gets my business. Another example I saw is from China. On the left side, you see a vending machine of crabs. If you look up closer, they're actually selling fresh crabs in the vending machine. And this is a need that is very specific culturally. This is a culture that appreciates fresh seafood. And also, they appreciate the emotional connection sharing the meal with family members. So after long hours of work, I want fresh seafood, but I can't get to a traditional market. Right after I get out of the subway, here's the vending machine that satisfies my need for fresh seafood and family connection through sharing a nice meal together. Right side, the cupcake. We need sugar. That's a physiological need. Sugar also brings happiness, which could be emotional needs. And this kind of needs, when it hits, it could be very strong. It could be any time of the day, anywhere. And that's why we see vending machine of sugar everywhere as well. So these are the examples to demonstrate that needs can fluctuate, and it can be activated at weird moments, at weird locations. And that's where if anybody can offer the product at that moment, at that location, they can get the business. Needs may not be activated by time and location. It could be activated by social demand as well. So if you are in marketing, you know the principle of leveraging scarcity. A lot of times, I don't feel I need the product until it's sold out and I can't get it anymore. It signals that the product must be good, many people want it. And just the fact that it's sold out activates now the need to acquire this product. And that is needs fluctuating based on social demand. How many other people in my network actually want this product? Last thing, needs can also be dynamic and change and develop over time. If your target consumer is people who have family, children grow up very fast, and at different phases, their needs, of course, will change. But also, as technology changes, oftentimes what we do is we try to educate consumers that how you live your life to change as well. So if you see from the right-hand side, this campaign, what it is doing is to tell people that the old way of washing vegetable is no longer enough, and there is a need to wash vegetable in a better way, and here is our product. So through this campaign, what the marketer is trying to do is to educate people that there are new needs that you may not be aware of, and our product tackles that new needs. So the needs are dynamic and is changing. That connects to my research, because a lot of my work is looking at how the needs are dynamic and changing as people work on their goals. So if you think about a goal that you start working on, I know it's close to the new year. Many of us may have the goal to be healthier this year, to get fitter, to lose weight. Students who just started a new class may have the goal, I want to achieve more this year, increase my GPA. Many people change their jobs as it changed from 2018 to 19, so they may have a new goal. I want to do well. I want to get that bonus. I want to get that promotion on my new job. My research looks at how those needs could be dynamic and could change as you move from early stage of a goal pursuit process to later stage. So for instance, this is an illustration of where you might be when it comes to your goal. So the finish line on the right-hand side signals the goal. You could be at the beginning, so you will be the person in the orange suit on the left. You are still very far away from the goal. Or you could be approaching the end, then you will be the person wearing the green suit on the right. You can think about this as customers. Customers who are using your product could feel that they are still far away from reaching that goal, whatever that is. Could be getting popular among their friends, could be getting healthier, could be self-actualization needs that we talked about earlier. Or your customers could have been using your product for a while and they feel that the product is helping them, and now they are getting closer to their need. They are not at the finish line yet, but they are getting very close to that goal. What our research said is that depending on where people think they are, their needs are actually fundamentally different. In the very beginning, when you are very far away, there is a huge uncertainty. You don't know if you can reach your goal. So the need is to feel confident. And a lot of times, what we need to keep in mind is that this person needs to feel like the hare, the rabbit. This person needs to feel like they are progressing fast. Your customers need to feel that the product is helping them jumpstart the process and they are losing weight fast or they are getting stronger fast. Your employee who just joined needs to feel that they are progressing fast, they are doing well at the job, because in the beginning there's so much uncertainty. If I don't feel I'm doing well, I will likely give up. To sustain motivation, it is important to make them feel like the hare in the story. However, as people get closer to the end of their goal, usually the confidence is very high. They know they can finish this project. For your customers, they know they can reach that goal. So at that time, the challenge is to recreate that need to make them finish, because otherwise, as we all know from the story, the hare will take a nap under the tree. When I feel confident I can attain the goal, I'm going to coast and relax. I'm not going to work extra hard to get there because it's in the bag. So the challenge here is to recreate that need for them to finish. And that's where we found that the turtle type of feedback, telling people that you are progressing, but you are progressing slowly. Maybe you are progressing slower than others. Help to create that need to actually work hard to finish it. To demonstrate that, we collaborated with a coffee shop in Texas, and we launched different reward programs. So we have a very simple A/B test. In condition A, we call it uniform velocity. It is a typical reward program that we use in business. Each purchase of coffee gives you 3 points, and that does not change throughout the process. So your speed is always the same. The feedback is always the same. You constantly get 3 points for each cup of coffee. In the condition B, we call it variable velocity condition. We test our hypothesis. We make them go fast in the beginning, and we slow them down at the end. So for the first 4 purchases of coffee, the customers get 5 points per purchase. That's very fast compared to other coffee shop reward programs. But the last 4 purchases they make, they start being slowed down. They get only 1 point for each purchase. So it's harder and harder to finish. So the point structure will look like this. They start off like the hare, and they finish like the turtle. And what we did is every time they come back to make a purchase, we have a record of the time, so we know when they come back. And the results showed that our condition, the variable velocity condition, which is the orange bar, was more effective. On your left-hand side is the redemption rate. We almost double the redemption rate with that variable condition, making people feel like a hare early on and a turtle later on. On your right side, how long it takes for customers to finish the program. That means how fast they keep on coming back to get a cup of coffee. In the variable velocity condition, we were able to reduce the duration of the program by 8 days on average. That means people are very eager to finish the program and they come back faster. So by making people feel like a hare early on and a turtle later on as they get closer to the goal, we were able to sustain their motivation throughout the process, make them not only motivated to start, but also motivated to finish. Following this line of logic, the next project I would like to share with you is using the same structure, but trying to find a different way to create needs as people get closer to the end of their goal. So we know that in mileage programs, we tend to give out a lot of free bonuses. So our question is it good to give out free progress, or should we highlight how much effort customers actually spend with the company? Our hypothesis is that in the beginning, following the same logic, I'm trying to increase confidence. The need is to feel that I can reach the goal. So to increase the confidence, I want to jumpstart the customers. So I give them a lot of free progress. That should be good for them. But as people get closer to the end, following the same logic, if it's too simple, they will coast and relax. They will not try to work hard to replan their trip to fly with the airline. So at that point, we think it might help to highlight how much effort they actually have put into the process, to highlight how hard they have worked to earn the place they are, and that should create the need to really finish it and enjoy your reward. I like to use this example to motivate employees. Think about a new employee who's just joined the company and not sure if this job is for them. You want to put them on a project that's already moving along. So they haven't done much, but it feels like they have already done a lot with the team. And that creates that sense of momentum early on. And that can create confidence. The job is for me, I can do this. But for the more seasoned employees who have been working on the project for a long time, they know they can do this, it's the same every year, they will feel really, like they can relax as they get closer to the end. So for those employees, it's not to highlight the confidence anymore. It could be to highlight how much effort they have actually put into this job already, how hard they have worked, how much they have earned the place, and that's why it's really worth it to finish it and get your bonus. And that should motivate them to work harder, to highlight that they have earned their place. So we tested this in another reward program with sandwich shops. So in this one, we put customers also into different locations. So customers will receive the card either have 3 points, so that's very early stage, and confidence could be an issue, or they receive cards that already have 6 points out of 9, so they're getting closer to the end, and they know they can finish it very soon. For each type of card, we also change how we frame their progress. Either it's free or they earned it. So for the 3-point condition, they either read that it's a free promotion to all customers, that's the one on your top right-hand side. So it's free promotion, it's easy progress, or they read something at the bottom that says that it is for your past business with us. You work so hard to always walk here for the sandwiches, so we reward you by giving you these points. It's your effort that get you to where you are today. So for 3 points, they read either it's a free progress, for everybody it's a promotion, or it's your effort. Same thing for the 6-point condition, getting closer to the end. They also either believe that this is a free progress and it's just some promotion we're doing right now, everybody has it, or it's because of your effort. It's because of your loyalty with us. So we have 4 conditions in total. And what we found is that for people who have 3-point card, that will be the bar on the left side, when they're in the beginning, highlighting how it's in doubt, it's free progress, the orange bar, is more motivating. People come back faster. This is the total number of days that take them to complete the card. You can think about it as completing a project, for instance. People work harder if they believe the free progress when they are in the beginning. But as they get closer to the end, if they get a 6-point card, it is actually highlighting how they earned this. This is their hard work. that make them feel that, yes, I need to finish this tomorrow, and that make them more motivated to come back and make more purchases to finish the cart. So free progress work in the beginning, but it is the hard work, earned progress, that is more motivating as people get closer to the end. Another way you can think about this, I know we talk about giving feedback, we talk about framing effort. Another way you can think about this is structuring the goals for people. You have customers who may want to get fitter or lose weight. You can focus them on small goals or big goals. Same thing for employees. We all have very small, maybe monthly goals, but we also have very big annual bonus goals, or even bigger, 3-year or 5-year promotion goals. What kind of goals should we focus people on? Following the same theory, we believe that in the beginning, if it's all about confidence, you should focus on small goals. Small goals feels more achievable. People can enjoy success faster. So small goals should work better in the beginning. Following the same logic, as people get closer to the end, small goal will be too easy for them. That's not going to motivate them. That just makes them feel they are allowed to relax. It is the focusing on the bigger goals that really give them the most important reward that's going to be motivating, to recreate that need to finish instead of coasting. So to test this, you can think about visual representation of different kinds of goals. If you look at the top side of your screen, these are the situations when people are starting. I have very little progress here. If I look at the big goal of 100, I'm so far away. That's not going to be motivating for me. But if I look at a small goal, yes, I can do this. See, I'm already halfway there. So the small goal in that situation will be more motivating than the big goal. But as people get closer to the end, now look at the bottom of your screen. If I'm getting really close to the end, focusing on that next small goal just seems so inconsequential. I'm going to wait until tomorrow or the day after to work on this project. It seems very easy. So that is not going to motivate effort. Now looking at that final big prize I'm getting close to, that 100, that big prize, big reward promotion, that's going to be motivating because look at how close I am, how much I have worked. I have to finish it so I can enjoy this. So small in the beginning, but big goal at the end. I was recently at a seminar with a manager from Wells Fargo, and he shared with me what their retirement team was doing and really mapped onto this logic very well. So if you think about retirement, that is a big goal. That's a huge dollar amount that all of us are very far away from probably. So they talk about how in the early stages, it's all about focusing on just the first year. Don't think about the big number. Focus on the first year, the small goal. That makes it seem achievable. They even use the hare and the turtle example. They send out congratulations email when people finish their small goal to make them feel that I have accomplished something. I'm the hare. I'm moving fast. But they realize that doesn't work for people who have been with Wells Fargo for a very long time, approaching retirement, have saved a lot of money. Focusing on the next year does not motivate them. That just makes them feel that they are allowed to relax. So what they end up doing for the people who are getting closer to the end is to reframe the focus to the big goal. Now I want you to recreate this need to finish. So they started illustrating what that big retirement looks like, what that lifestyle looks like. And that could be leveraging different kinds of needs. Maybe by saving enough money, you can visit your grandchildren. That's your emotional connection we talked about earlier. Maybe by saving so much money, you can take vacation. You can write that novel you always want to write. That is self-actualization needs that we talked about earlier. So it's by highlighting all these big goals that you can achieve by finishing your retirement plan that motivate people to continue saving at the end. It is the big picture that is motivating. So you may wonder, yes, I want to start small and then finish big for my customers and for my employees. But sometimes it may be hard to immediately switch your incentive system to change the focus. So we are curious about that as well. So we want to test a condition where we have a hybrid system. So you have a big goal situation, you have a small goal situation, but what if I have a hybrid, which is a blue one at the bottom of your screen? The hybrid condition breaks things down into small goals, but the focus remains on the big goal, which is 140 points at the end. We did this with a project with students. We wonder what a hybrid condition would do. So the students, they are participating in a review program. So they write different reviews in China for an online platform. And the more review they did, they get points to reward them. and if you get enough points, you can redeem for a prize. So we capture how many reviews they did once we provided the feedback for them. What we found is that for the students who felt like they are still far away, they are just starting to review articles online, they feel they are very far away. Again, small goal works better, the orange bar. But the hybrid did better than the overall goal competition. The hybrid is the blue bar. For the people who are finishing, so they have reviewed a lot of articles, they are getting closer to their prize. Again, the overall goal, the green one, is very motivating, focusing on the big picture. But our hybrid condition was also equally motivating. So the hybrid condition turned out to be creating the most optimal performance at the end, compared to focusing on the big goals throughout the process or focusing only on the small goals throughout the process. So that is a potential solution you can think about if you think about motivating your customers for repeated purchases or motivating your employees to finish the project. You want to focus them on the small things in the beginning, but finish big. Hybrid structure could be helpful. So far we talked about two main takeaways. One, needs are important, and there are many types of them. You have the hierarchy map with you, and I hope you started thinking about all kinds of needs that will be relevant for your customers and your employees. The second takeaway is needs are dynamic. Specifically, it changes depending on where you are on your goal. In the beginning, we need confidence. At the end, we need to recreate that need to finish. Otherwise, people will just coast and relax. And I've given you some tools on how to recreate that need in the later stage as people get closer to their goal and start to feel very confident. The third takeaway and the last takeaway I want you to have from today is that needs are specific. When we talk about different kinds of needs in the beginning, or when we talk about the needs being dynamic, we're really focusing on individuals. It's easy to think about your customers or employees as a big group of people you are trying to motivate. So by doing so, we lose the specificity that really drives the needs. When we think about needs, we need to think about specific individuals and what really drives them. To illustrate that, I'm going to bring you to the pregnancy market. I'm selling a product of pregnancy test. If I ask you for pregnancy test, what is the need that drives the purchase of this product? What would be your response? What kind of needs drive people to purchase pregnancy test? I think that most of us would say knowledge, information. I need to know, right? This is the product that gives you an answer. So it is knowledge that I'm selling here. And that's the first level response. But for all the practitioners who are on the call right now, I want you to dive deeper. What if I tell you there are two opposite needs that drive the purchase of pregnancy test? And these two needs are fundamentally different from each other. They are opposite from each other. There are two types of needs that drive the purchase of pregnancy test, and they are fundamentally opposite from each other. What would those needs be? Here's the answer. It is the need to be pregnant and have a family versus the need to really don't want to be pregnant right now. They are completely opposite from each other, but they drive to the same behavior. You go out and you buy that pregnancy test. So by diving deeper, I realized the fundamental needs are opposite. One is the need for family. The other is the need to still stay individual and not to have a family. Because of that, everything in my marketing will be different. Right? Let's think about the number one thing we talk about when it comes to marketing. It could be the product, naming. To name my product for the target market on the right-hand side, I may use the words that are more hopeful, that illustrate what she will have. So it could be conceived, that could be the name. But for the target market on the left-hand side, you know we can't name the product conceived. It might be something that signals more accuracy or urgency, something like rapid view, rapid response. Now let's think about packaging, another important part of marketing. For the right-hand side, I want to show her the dream. So the image on the package could have baby face, right? Show her what the future will look like, happy family. On the left-hand side, we probably won't print baby face on the package. So that could be completely different. Now let's think about package size. That's another decision we make when it comes to product assortment. On the right-hand side, for people who are trying to get pregnant, it could be a long process. It's usually part of the planning. So I can sell a bigger pack because they probably will go through multiple ones and throughout several months. So a big pack will work for this market. On the left-hand side, probably not a big pack, probably the small pack. The usual marketing practice right now could be a pack of 2, potentially one to check, one to double check, to satisfy the needs for that information, and to make sure I can verify that information. Pricing could be different as well. The market research has shown that for the right side of a segment, because they are dealing with larger ticket items like baby rooms, potential education down the road, doctor visits, so their willingness to pay for this kind of product is actually higher. It's part of their planning. Compared to the left-hand side, the willingness to pay is actually lower. So because the right-hand side is willing to pay more, a lot of companies start developing more sophisticated products for this market. So they invest more R&D into the product. The product could have a digital diary attached to it. They may have other tracking functions to satisfy this market. So the same exact product, pregnancy test, but we change the product naming, packaging could be different, and even how much I sell it for could be different. And if you think about where I place it in the store, it could be different. On the left-hand side, I may sell it along with other contraceptive products. But on the right-hand side, it could be part of the planning. So maybe I can sell it at baby aisles. It's something that you would think about when you buy vitamins for the pregnancy planning process. So where I purchase the shelf space could also differ. Everything becomes different because these 2 segments have very different fundamental needs. And that's what we meant when we say needs to be specific. When you think about needs, don't stop at the first level response. Dive deeper into the specific needs that your customers may have. I want to share this quote with you from Steve Jobs. He said that we always think about new markets we will enter, but it's only by saying no that you can concentrate on the things that are really important. Of course, for Apple, their target market is the whole world, everybody who has reception. But if they focus on everybody, their message will not be powerful because nobody knows that Apple is talking to them. So by diving deep into a specific segment psychology, they are able to discover needs that turn out to be very powerful and influence many, many people. To really illustrate that, I want to end on a commercial from Google. Google's target market, again, just like Apple, is the whole world. But they cannot try to talk to everybody because then the needs you are communicating is not going to be specific or powerful enough. So what Google did is to zoom in and focus on one person. So it is a very powerful illustration. Of course, like we said, Google's point is to influence everybody around the world. But in order to do that, they actually demonstrate specific needs of one individual. It's probably none of us on this call right now, but we all respond to it. They show how this individual's journey changes. Right? Again, needs are dynamic. They show different kinds of needs, the needs for self-actualization, the needs to feel family connection. All kinds of needs are captured in this commercial, and they show how it changes from the beginning to the end. And we all respond to it because it is so specific, it feels real, and it's powerful. So to summarize, we talked about 3 major takeaways today. 1, needs are important. When you think about motivating your customers and your employees, think about what are the needs that drive them. Now you have a framework that can help you think about all the needs that could be happening. 2nd, needs are dynamic. It keeps on changing. And therefore, your communication, your message needs to change accordingly. And 3rd, needs to be specific. Think about it in a very specific way. It will help you generate something that's more powerful and potentially influence way more people than just that individual. And I hope you enjoy the webinar today. I think we will save some time for questions, and I'll hand it over to Hannah, who will help me moderate the question session. You will be able to type in your questions on the left-hand side.
Thanks very much, Szu-Chi. Again, this is Earl Taylor, Chief Knowledge Officer at MSI, and we do have some questions, and thanks for giving us some time at the end to cover those, Szu-Chi. I think that was a very interesting and very practical presentation of how we as marketers can think about something we sort of take for granted, I think, sometimes when we design our campaigns or think about how to communicate with consumers, and I think you pointed out some good ways to rethink that issue. One of the questions that came up was the implications of this approach, this way of thinking, for the decision journey. A lot of your examples had to do around motivating towards goals, and I suppose you could think of making a purchase as a kind of a goal attainment. So just maybe to extrapolate a little bit from what you did share with us, what are your thoughts about how to conceptualize the decision journey, the path to purchase, so-called, in terms of the dynamics of the motivations? Just some of your thoughts about that.
Definitely. And the customer journey is very important. It's a really relevant topic, and I'm actually currently doing some work trying to track customers' journey in the store. Just like I see the question here, buying a car as an example, there is a beginning when I realize I have a need for a car, but everything's very vague. I may not have much brand knowledge. I'm trying to recall the commercials I saw, and these days I'm searching online, reading reviews. And there is an ending phase too, where I kind of know what I want, and I want to go into the negotiation and fulfill that final goal. And so shopping sometimes works that way, start kind of ambiguous and become more concrete along the way. So there are different research findings along this line, but the similar psychology does apply here in the sense that in the beginning, there's a lot of uncertainty. When the customers first started searching for car information, they are really not sure if they are going to make the right decision. There's so much going on, it's quite overwhelming. So everything you can do to help them increase that confidence could be helpful. So what we sometimes do in the marketing is we try to, for example, structure the choice for them by educating them, hey, these are the type of criteria that people care about. So you don't have to think about so many options. Actually, you can narrow it down to this set. That could increase confidence. Or sometimes people look at other users who are just like them. That's why we chat with neighbors, what kind of car they have. That helps increase confidence as well. If a car works for somebody who are just like me, probably work for me too. So that's how word of mouth works. We trust similar others. And that is what it's doing is, again, increasing the confidence. This could be a right choice. So I would say anything you can do to help people narrow down, structure the choice, or have priority on how they trade off different dimensions of the product, that could all help to increase confidence and move them along that line closer to the purchase point. But once they kind of know these are the few options I want, you will see a lot of the customers probably stop there. They stop there. They want to think more. They may wait on it. So then the topic, then the challenge becomes to how do I recreate that need so they reach the goal, which is to purchase. So again, it's about making sure they don't coast on the information they have and actually recreating that need. So we talk about different things. For example, I mentioned scarcity earlier. Sometimes the dealers try to do that. They use scarcity. This is running out. This option specifically is running out. And that could create the social demand and make people want to purchase. So that's pulling that final trigger. Or you can highlight how valuable that is, so that maybe they are sitting on a few options. But if you can highlight, hey, you have done so much homework on this. Now, these are the deals that are available right now. We don't know if it will be available in the future. So this is the time to pull the trigger. Otherwise, all your hard work goes to waste if you don't reach the finish line and actually get that car and start using it tomorrow. So highlighting the hard work they have done, doing all this work, homework on cars, could also be helpful. So I think the general takeaway is that in the beginning, you do things to try to increase their confidence, to move them along this decision process. But at the end, what you want to do is to recreate that need to actually close the deal, to create the sense of urgency, to create value for finishing the purchase. That will be helpful.
I think it's a great answer. One of the challenges we face today with the multiple sources of information and channels to actually search and purchase products is you get very far down that path that you were describing, and all of a sudden you see a whole bunch of different options, and one option is just to do nothing at all. And I think the abandoned shopping cart idea, which is a challenge for a lot of companies to deal with their consumers, I think you make a really great point that at that stage of the decision, you really have to have them narrowed down around some meaningful sense of closing on the goal, taking action. They put sunk cost into the search process, and now is the time to pull the trigger and act. So great advice, I think, for those of us who are trying to motivate consumers over that past kind of decision hurdle. You said something early on I want to come back to, though, and it's interesting. You started by saying we can activate needs, and these are needs that pre-exist. They're rooted in some of the psychology of Maslow that you shared with us. But marketing historically and famously, and sometimes people criticize it for this, can create needs. You cited Steve Jobs' comment, but famously Jobs claims they never did research on what people wanted. They just developed a better product and made them want it. So I'm wondering back to that kind of the balance of activating pre-existing needs that are probably rooted in human psychology and whatever, versus creating new needs or maybe awareness of a new need. Your thoughts about that? Because I think a lot of innovation is around creating demand and awareness of a new need.
Definitely. I think it is a really intriguing question, thinking about where marketing comes into play. In my view, like we said earlier, needs fluctuate. So all the needs are there, and a lot of times when we talk about creating a need, we simply bring it back to the surface. So take iPhone, for example. They definitely develop product with specific user group in mind, and maybe for them, what drives them is to create the best product they believe in on the market. But what that product ends up, what drives people to purchase the product comes down to similar needs. It could be very functional. I want to be connected, so I want a good phone. But we all know that Apple carries such a social currency these days to have an iPhone. So what that ends up doing is it becomes a status symbol, and it is a social need. We talk about social need, feeling respected from others, feeling that I have fulfilled my potential, like I own this product that makes me feel great. These are very fundamental needs. We just did not connect that with having a phone in the past. And what iPhone did revolutionary is to connect those two things together. Phone can bring you that status. Phone can make you feel that you're a successful professional, or MacBook Pro can make you feel that you're fulfilling your creativity. Just by owning a MacBook Pro, there are so many softwares I don't even use on my MacBook Pro, but I feel more creative. And that's the self-actualization needs that's being satisfied through the brand's communication. So I think it is new needs, but a lot of times what is happening with these new marketing is that they are actually talking to the needs that has been there, but maybe has been satisfied by other types of products, such as luxury products. It's never been really tapped into in this specific market. And that's why I think that hierarchy that our participants can take home today will be very helpful to think about what are the needs that my competition are already talking about, and what are the needs that we actually haven't addressed much in the industry. And that could be a new connection that you can build if that is the need that actually is relevant for your consumer's daily life. They just never thought your product would be one way to satisfy that need.
Actually, that's a great transition to another question I wanted to raise. And at one point, you talked about the example of the sandals and a couple of others of vending machines. And I think you used the phrase, this was putting the product in a weird moment in a weird location. And I'm just curious about that because on the one hand, you say, well, put your product where people go looking for your product. That seems to be obvious, although you'll face a lot of competition because everyone has the same idea. Maybe just to expand on that notion of being in an unexpected place with something that meets maybe a momentary need.
Mm-hmm. Yeah.
Just your thoughts. Yeah.
Like how you can kind of stand out in identifying those unexpected moments and locations, basically.
Right. The thought being, again, the example you used towards the end of putting your product, depending on which market you're appealing to for the pregnancy test, you put it with the baby vitamins or with the health products or something. So in that sense, you're saying, well, we know where consumers look for the product. We're going to put it there and hope that they find it and choose us. But this notion of having it in the kind of weird place or moment seemed to be kind of almost like a guerrilla tactic to differentiate your offer, to find a niche market that maybe others hadn't thought of. And I just wondered if you had other thoughts about that as a technique. Yeah.
I think that's also connected to another question I see here. We talk about all these kind of needs, and they could be activated at unexpected moments or unexpected locations. How do I identify those opportunities? And of course, it's a big question. It could be a 5-week course here. But I think the main takeaway I have is, first of all, you have data. Our data access becomes so powerful these days. The data actually tell us a lot. These days we have location data, we have time data, which help us interpret people's behavior. So for example, we used to know people purchase coffee, for example, at this location. That's all we know. Now we know when they come in, even the path they take to come in, and what they are exposed to along the way, what could come to mind as they walk from here to the coffee shop. We also know the time stamp they come in. The people who come in at 3 p.m. is so different from the people who come in at 10 a.m. What other needs on their mind could be very different. So data is one way for us to now make connections to among different kinds of behaviors and isolate the moments or the time that your product might be relevant, but nobody has been advertising there yet. And another thing that I think could be potentially really helpful is a lot of marketers are using the observational method kind of combined with big data. So observational method is used by many companies, including IKEA and stereo systems. So they basically pay customers so they can go into their home and observe how they live their lives. Or if you're a car company, Honda did that too, observe how customers use their car. They don't ask questions. They don't ask survey questions. They simply observe at what moment the conversation about car actually come into play, at what moment they argue about the car with their spouse, and at what moment they simply live their life with the car there. And all these things help to provide insight into what are the surprising moments that kind of come in, that your product could be mentioned, or your competition is being mentioned, or the need is being mentioned and nobody's addressing that need. And so I think combining observation, which really gives you a hands-on insight but small sample size, with big data, which give you large amounts of behaviors but maybe less direct insight, combining these two can really reveal some surprising locations and time that your product has an opportunity to enter customers' mental space. And I think that would be a great tool for marketers these days to leverage.
I think that's a great sort of synthetic note to end on. A lot of people make a distinction between the big data approach and the more ethnographic or observational, but I think as you pointed out, they're really complementary approaches. So I want to thank Szu-Chi again for being with us today for this webinar. We'll be sending out a recording of the webinar soon, and if you have additional questions about the presentation, you can follow up with Szu-Chi at huangsc@stanford.edu. That's HUANGSC at stanford.edu. Since 1961, nonprofit MSI has brought together the best minds in marketing from major corporations and top business schools around the world to improve business practice by applying science to marketing's biggest challenges. Thanks again to Szu-Chi, to our audience for being with us today, and we look forward to seeing you at our next Lunch and Learn webinar.